Hi everyone, it's Monday and it's time for another installment of Mondays at the Mystical Magical Mansion. Welcome. If this is the first time you're tuning in, my name is Kim. My husband Ryan and I bought an old mansion built in 1910 here in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're sharing our journey each week as we DIY, restore, improve, and also just share a little bit of the history of our city with you. So last week we discovered the ultimate. We found a tunnel on our property. So if you haven't seen that episode, I'll put a link to it in the comments below. And also, if you haven't taken the time to like and subscribe to our channel, please do that so that you can follow along and get to hear all of our stories and adventures through all of this crazy process. So we had a big week last week finding a tunnel, but more importantly, on a Mystical Magical Monday, we had a new addition to our family. So we have a new granddaughter, little Franny Jo. And we could not be more delighted. She is just precious and we are madly, madly in love. So we add her to the other two grandchildren who you see sometimes in my videos who are helping me out during the week with some of my baking and restoring and whatnot. And they're just gorgeous and we're smitten. I think like all grandparents are, but we love ours a lot. So this house has always been so full of surprises and such an adventure. And so today I thought I would share with you just a little bit of our special surprises that we have here in one of our drawers, as well as trying to just sort of sleuth around and find out if we can get any information related to the tunnel. So let's take a look. So in the main living room of our home, we have these incredible built-in cabinets. They are original. They are in amazing shape. All of them still have their original hardware. These beautiful little brass locks and crystal knobs, and they do function, lock, and work perfectly, and we actually do have the key, which is quite remarkable. And each of them has a drawer beneath them. They sort of wrap around this west end of the large main living room. So as you can see, there's multiple cupboards, and we've just got them full of sort of treasures that we've found throughout the years. But one of these drawers really does contain something very, very special. So down here in these lower drawers, there is actually blueprints. And the paper and everything is extremely delicate, so we try to be really careful with all of it. But I want to have you have a look at it with us today. So we've got just piles and piles and rolls of these blueprints here on our dining room table, and this is my husband Ryan. If most of you have not met him already, we thought it would be fun for everyone to take a look and to also just sort of re-examine things to see if we can find anything related to the tunnel that we discovered last week. So as we're looking at all of these blueprints, I think it's really important to think of it in context as to 1910. So this was all designed, built, conjured up by John Latenser and Ephraim Dixon in probably 1908, 1909, where Omaha was really sort of coming into its heyday. There was a lot of money coming in from the meat packing industry. There was also the metal and like smelting plants. So this part of town where this house would have been built was very much where the who's who were building their homes. They were very affluent. Sort of no expense spared. So this house would have had a lot of modern amenities for the time. So if you think about 1908, there really were not a whole lot of cars. There was a dirt road coming up to this house. There was a streetcar up in Walnut Hill where a lot of the executives would go up there and get in the streetcar to ride down to the main part of Omaha so that they could work in the city, and then they could get back on it and come here and be out of the hustle and bustle and all of the congestion and smell and dirt of downtown Omaha. It was a busy, crazy place. So the average income in 1910 was $200 to $400 per year. The minimum wage was 22 cents an hour, which is just sort of mind-boggling. An average dentist made $2,500 per year. And this whole property and home, we have the original deed and contract for it. They paid $38,000 for this whole property, which is kind of crazy. But if you look at that in comparison to what wages and the cost of living was back then, it was really still a remarkably expensive property, and there's no way you could even come close to that in this day and age. But I think as we look through the house and the blueprints, it's always just kind of fascinating to think that there were servants' quarters. There was actually 10 bedrooms originally designed for the home, which was substantial. They had multiple children, but they also were a very affluent family doing big things, moving and shaking here in Omaha, and their blueprints in the house is very reflective of that. So these are very tattered and very delicate, but here is, like, isn't that gorgeous? That is a gorgeous picture there.
It's a view of the south side of the house. So as you can see, where there was the pergola, and that got torn off in the storm of 1913.
So originally when it was built, there was a pergola. A lot of people, maybe this might be the first video they're seeing, they don't know this, but our house was built in 1910, and then there was a tornado in Omaha in 1913. And so this big external pergola got destroyed, ripped off at the time.
It had stone columns.
Yeah, so that would have come out, and they would probably have pulled their carriage under that to get to that side door. Yeah, there's our porch with our urns.
Those big,
our
heavy
fancy urns in the front. Just lower level basement. They look much more blue, this page does, than some of the other ones. So that big huge room I told you that described this, the long main room that we use as a family room now down there, is listed as a drying room. And then we have the wine cellar. So there's the wine cellar.
Then there's an extra place for wines in case one cellar wasn't enough. And then
There's
vegetables.
Okay, so we have, keep these rooms. Okay, this must have been like a second version of these. So an extra wine room and an extra vegetable space. So there's two closets down there just at the base of the stairs, and then there's obviously the big boiler room.
And if you look at the laundry room, it's got the sinks
Yep,
that are still down there.
Old sinks that we still have. They're still intact. There's a bathroom down there, which would have been obviously for the help to use when they were down there working, which has been removed and taken out, and hopefully someday we'll get to replace. So interesting. And this is the coal room. So that back would be the southwest corner of the house is the coal room. And then over here we have
the staircase.
The little staircase going downward, yeah, to get into
that's going upward outside. So this is the hall going, and that goes to the outside.
Okay, got it.
And this is where the window used to be that is now all enclosed.
It's a stairway.
Because they made it a stair for upstairs.
Yeah. So this page is a much more faded original here. Gosh, it looks like old denim, doesn't it?
This is the second floor. So
Okay.
this is the second floor because there's the boudoir, which is Kim's closet. Master bedroom. Master closet, bathroom, stairwell.
Okay, go slower. I'm trying to pan here.
But I like that they call it the well hole.
Oh yeah, the main stairwell. So there's a landing, and then they call it the well hole.
And then over
But
here,
there's markings on these actually where they had been changed and signed, and adjustments were made. So I think it's really fascinating that we still have that written and signed. Yeah, this is very cool. The outside, yeah.
shows a pergola here, which is not here because it was removed by the tornado.
Yeah, so there's a gorgeous old pergola along the south side of the house.
Right outside the big bay window.
Yeah,
which
where
is
we have the window
now
seat.
just a garden.
So here are the blueprints of the third floor up in the servants' quarters, which I have kind of let you guys tour with me. I have up on the third floor is a guest room, which we now have as an office. Then where they have listed as the storeroom is actually a bedroom for us, and this back wall along here, so it would be the west wall, was all what was damaged and pretty much taken out during the tornado in 1913.
Over here, this is a really cool view. It's at the side of the house, like if it was a dollhouse and you cut it away and you look at it from the side. So it shows the roof line, and that's how the peaked roof is. Chimneys, third floor, second floor, first floor, basement. And this is showing, which is really cool in detail, what all the doors look like, which are still exactly what they look like today. So this is the little door that goes into the kitchen. This is the door in the basement that goes into the basement kitchen. The stairwell, all the way up to the third floor.
It's interesting they're calling that a basement kitchen.
Yeah.
So here's a front view of the house. And again, these are very tattered, but we have the whole initial concept idea, all of this before it was even real. So this is what the ideas were before this house existed, which I think is such a fascinating thing. And they had all of those little leaded windows or fretwork or however that was imagined, which are not here. But really everything else came to pass. It's all, the house looks very much like this. Video of the first floor. Or sorry, a full blueprint of the first floor, which you can see is also very tattered and it's really faded. So I'm going to zoom in here. So first floor plan. And what I think is really neat is if you look along this would be on the south side of our house. You can see there's some white lines drawn there. And then it says carriage drive. So that would be where they would have brought the carriage up. There was that pergola, so they would have been able to get out at the side porch, come in. We have the beautiful sunroom, which many of you have seen, which is one that we use a lot, and I have that very fancy settee in there. We have our living room with all those built-in cabinets, which I showed you at the beginning of the video. Fireplace. We come around here. We still have the little nook and the terracotta tile that are still in existence in the entryway are definitely, it says vestibule, and we have those, that vestibule still has its original. So the dining room is substantial. Then there's the buffet, the butler's pantry. Then this is the original kitchen plan, and as you can see, there was a servant's dining room and a kitchen porch, which have been modified a little bit at this point, but you can see between everything there's a door. There are so many doors. You can see these little angles where there is just a swing and another door and another door and another door. Like to keep all of these doors and rooms very, very separate, clearly. Then there was a door here that goes between the kitchen and the servants' hallway, which has been taken out. There was also a door that was for going into the kitchen that's now no longer there. Then the swinging door coming this way into the dining room that we do still have, so we feel very lucky about that. But yeah, you can see that the place for the help was very separate from the owners, and I'm sure out on this little kitchen porch out here, they sat out there and smoked cigarettes and talked about life problems. I'm sure it was very Downton Abbey. Mr. Carson's probably had to make sure everybody was in order. But I just think this is so lovely. We're so fortunate to have all of this just because it was an idea when this was being done, and now we're standing in it and it's still holding up so beautifully after all of these years. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the blueprints to this home. I think they are really just a work of art. The work of John Latenser is notable, and there's a lot of places here in Omaha and Lincoln and actually in Nebraska that his work is prominent, with the Omaha Courthouse, Central High School, lots of other really notable buildings, and we feel so fortunate to be part of his history, part of his legacy. And even though we didn't find anything to do with a tunnel in our blueprints, we're going to keep searching. So hopefully maybe next week we'll take a deeper dive down in there. Hopefully my son will have time to come and do a little searching around. He's the brave one with the GoPro, so we're going to send him down there. But thank you for following us on our journey, for learning and exploring with us. This is definitely a work in progress. And if you haven't liked and subscribed to our channel, please do that. It's super important for us to continue to grow this community. And please send questions and comments and anything that you would like to see in the future. We're always just interacting with all of the people who watch and message us and really, really enjoy those conversations. So take good care. And as always, as I say every week, we are creating a movement of unapologetically fancy. And I love seeing your activities and things that you post and share where you're doing unapologetically fancy things. But get out your good dishes, your teacups, go on adventures, go to things that make you feel unapologetically fancy. Wear something cute, do something nice. But do things for yourself, because putting things away and saving your good stuff for later is just silly. And doggone it, we deserve the good stuff. So take good care. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. Best wishes from the mystical, magical mansion.